Alright, I've got a box of Tactical Masters here for you guys. Let's do a fast opening and talk about the set. Another deck builder set, so there are no commons. All that exists in this set are rares, supers, ultras, and collectors. Similar to Grand Creators, which introduced a few new archetypes, the goal of this set is to introduce the Runic, Labyrinth, and Valence archetypes. These three decks are all somewhat innovative in what they're trying to do. Runic is a mill deck full of powerful quick play spells that can either be instant fusions or some generic power spell that happens to also mill by banishing. The downside of this deck being that all of the quick play spells make the Runic player skip their battle phase, forcing them to find alternate win conditions. They also have crazy draw power. Labyrinth is a trap archetype that revolves around playing normal traps and fiends. Valence is a pendulum archetype that lets you special summon pendulum monsters if the zone above them isn't occupied. It also triggers monster effects by moving them to different columns through cards like Senate Switch. All of these archetypes look pretty cool on paper and in terms of game design, but besides Runic, will probably be rather underwhelming. Control-based trap decks haven't fared well in the current meta lately, and Valence suffer from the fact that they lock you into specialing Valence from main deck and do not have a good in-archetype high scale yet. Not to mention, Runic has the possibility of having bad matchups into decks where effects triggered by banishing, although I have a bit of hope that this archetype will do well in being a supplementary engine to decks like Sky Striker. Despite the new archetypes not being meta-changing enough to swing the power of the Elements format all that much, one cool thing about this set is that it does have a few notable reprints in the forms of rares, which also take up collector-ish spots. Talking about Droll, Anti-Spell, Trap Trick, Cosmic Cyclone, to name a few. Check out this pack where I hit 3 of them. Not bad. Finally, Droll and Lockbird can become a bit more accessible for people. Common from the structure deck used to be well over $15. It was ridiculous. But honestly, unless your goal is to high roll on the collectors or cards or build any of the new archetypes, it's just not worth cracking. This is pretty well reflected in the fact that the cost of a box for the set is already straight tanking. Perhaps people are realizing that buying a full booster box and only getting 3 ultra rares on average is just absolutely tragic. Unless you pull exactly what you want or get collectors or cards, it's very difficult to justify purchasing side sets like these. Compare this to the 4 ultra rares and 2 secrets that we typically pull from core sets, and it feels like the only thing selling some of these side sets nowadays is just high rarity upgrades for those who want them. Of course, Grand Creators is an exception to this rule because upon introduction, Brave and Punk were absolutely insane in competitive play. What I really want to look at is the handful of sets where all of the value is reliant on pulling high rarity reprints. For example, the case of Brothers of Legend, where Forbidden Droplet was reprinted, but short printed, and Dragoon was reprinted, but as a Starlight rare. These were chase cards, and the rest of the set was rather lackluster. But hey, not every set can be Power of the Elements levels of value. That is a legitimately hard thing to follow up on. Alright, final haul for the ultra rares is Ariana, the Labyrinth Servant, Valence Wars, the Place for the Beginning, and the Shinonome, the Valence Princess. Also, don't know how well it shows up on camera, but for all these ultra rares, they're a bit off-center. This shift has been pretty common in recent sets, though. Alright, if you're interested in the races for the good stuff, we've got 4 Cosmic, 5 Anti-Spell, 4 Trap Tricks, 2 Drolls, and 4 Compulses. I have a feeling Droll is short printed.